As the Judicial Service Commission ushered in Court of Appeal Judge Aaron Visram for vetting,
the Commission's shortlisting is hereby removed into this court, and that decision is hereby quashed.
High Court Judge George Odunga ordered the JSC to reconsider all applicants in the Mutunga succession process.
The Judicial Service Commission is hereby prohibited from making recommendations to the President on the persons to be appointed as the Chief Justice.
And after deliberations that took almost 3 hours, JSC agreed to implement Odunga's directive, reversing their earlier decision that had locked out 7 applicants. The 7, among them Professor Makau Mutua and former boss of the defunct Kenya Anti-Corruption Commission, Aaron Ringera, will now have a date with JSC beginning 5th of September.
And if I try and draw a line...
Aaron Visram's dream of heading the judiciary was halted in 2011 after former Premier Raila Odinga declined his nomination since he was not consulted. Dr. Mutunga was then picked after a competitive process. 5 years later, Visram has a chance to try and get the top job at the judiciary.
I can comfortably say that I have prepared myself for leadership if called upon.
What can we expect of you?
But the experienced judge was taken to task over his past rulings. The judge, who has served since the days of the Kanu regime, was asked to explain why there is a perception that he awarded big money in terms of damages to politicians in defamation cases. In 2006, Visram okayed an outside settlement of 10 million shillings between former powerful minister Nicholas Biwott and 2 Kenyan publishers. In the same case, Biwott got a 15 million shillings decision against foreign publishers, courtesy of Visram.
The whole purpose of the judgment was to tell the world that these people were wrong, were irresponsible, were malicious, didn't even defend themselves.
What kind of Chief Justice would you be, having in mind the possibility that you are one then who would discourage or who would be seen as constricting free speech?
My notion of free speech is not to give liberties to abuse and to lie.
On judicial independence and interdependence, Visram maintained that he will ensure decisions of judges are not influenced by neither forces from outside the judiciary nor from within.
Yes, there have been threats to our individual independence. That's by the press itself, because oftentimes the press will be very adverse and very negative about a judgment that you've rendered because it's not a popular judgment. The second area is, unfortunately, cartels that have just developed around the judiciary.
Having had a date with Justice Aaron Visram, JSC will on Tuesday grill High Court Judge Musaga Mbogoli. Mbogoli was appointed a High Court judge in 1987. Enock Sikolia, NTV.